Happy holidays. Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday.
Trojan family, good morning. Welcome to the USC LAFB show. I'm your host, Ryan Dyward. We are on the LAFB network. We're just going to get right into it. It's early morning, Wednesday. Two big transfer portal exits announced. We knew more would be coming. I've been saying it just with how the numbers are laid out with the 35-person class, with the team looking to add probably 10 to 15 guys in the portal. We knew it was going to be a large amount of players exiting. Like I've been saying, 20 to 30 probably exits. These two this morning, though, do kind of sting and are a bit surprising in some regard. Now, we can work through it. Again, this is all me kind of reading between the lines and talking to different people, but not actually being in the rooms. So again, don't take it as full biblical truth. It's just kind of my opinion of the situation. But Devin Tompkins, starting defensive tackle, plans to enter the portal, and second-year tight end Walker Lyons plans to enter the portal. I'll get to Walker in a minute. I started hearing some murmurs yesterday that I was a bit surprised about, but I'll get to him in just a minute. Let's start with Devin Tompkins. And, you know, this is an unfortunate one because of just him as a person, I think, and I don't mean this in any disrespect whatsoever, but I think his play, I don't want to say it regressed, but it didn't quite get to the level that I think the hope was. I know he was a guy going into the year that like Coach Henney was like, hey, this guy could be a first round pick, like super high on. And so I don't want to say that he was just like bad this year, but he didn't quite live up to that expectation. Now, I will say he is an example of development. Like, this is a guy that was a basketball player in high school, came in, switched positions, was more of an edge, got moved into that 3-tech kind of interior of the defensive line, put on a bunch of weight, but was probably not a true defensive tackle, interior defensive tackle, especially in the Big Ten. If they were in the Pac-12 still, he probably would have been eating guys up in the interior at his size, you know, sitting 6'5", 290-ish, just a touch under 300. So he would have been eating probably in the Pac-12. In the Big Ten, with the style of play, I mean, you really need 305 plus bodies in the interior. And I know that 15 pounds maybe doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes a big difference in that interior. So he was just a little bit undersized, but team captain. He was nicknamed the captain, like by his defensive line room. Beloved by the team. Always great, always respectful with the media. Just love his story. I think just, you know, like I said, coming from playing basketball to really not playing any football, 3-star recruit, and then just develops and just works and just grinds. And a guy that this coaching staff loved to coach, and a guy that really blossomed. And we saw last year really take a huge leap. And then this year kind of came in as the dude, and unfortunately just kind of didn't play like the dude. Didn't play bad, again. I think he was more suited to either be more outside or to be more of a very high quality depth piece, and probably not needing to be the starter in run defense against Jeremiah Love and Notre Dame, against, you know, the Nebraska, against these big bodied rushing attacks. So that's not a knock. It just maybe ended up being the best fit. So to me, how I think this went down was probably he has 1 year of eligibility left. And I think there's two scenarios here. I think it was, you know, they tough conversations, as we've been talking about, as Lincoln Riley said on Monday, and kind of said, hey, we love you. You're a team captain. You're a team guy. We think the world of you. We can still develop you, but we see you going into next year as a depth piece, as a quality depth piece with who's coming in and with who we're going to target in the portal. We just need a little higher upside in the starting if we want to make a run at a national championship. So to me, I feel like they probably told him, hey, we want you here, but it's going to be more as a depth rotational guy. And so for him, he's probably like, I got 1 year left to go do the best I can to, you know, get drafted in the NFL. I probably need to go somewhere where I am like essentially guaranteed a starter. It's a meritocracy. You still got to compete and earn that job. But he can certainly go to other programs, and let's just, God forbid, it ends up being someone in the Big Ten, and we're all eating words here. But he can certainly go to another program, maybe in a different conference that has a little different style, and I think dominant. Like I said, I think in the Big 12, he could be one of the best defensive tackles in the Big 12. It's just a little different style of play in the Big 10, and he was just a little out of position in terms of scheme fit, in terms of his size. So that's how I'm kind of breaking it down. Maybe that's 2 glass half full. I also think there might be a play here where, hey, USC's giving a lot of money NIL to their 35-person freshman class. They're going to have to pay a lot of money to, obviously Jaden Maiava coming back in order to keep Hussein Longstreak, which we'll see if that actually happens or not. I mean, he's going to be making over $1 million to be a backup quarterback if he does decide to re-sign and stay. There's only so much money to go around, so there's probably also a conversation like, hey, here's what we can give you. You can probably get more somewhere else. Whether USC told him that or whether his family or manager or whoever told him that, there is that play. Like when you're a guy that's started 18 plus games, has quality reps, 55 plus tackles, some program's going to pay you pretty high starter money. Whether that's the playoff teams of the world or whether that's, a Baylor or, I don't know, I'm just throwing names out, Oklahoma State, something of that tier, you're probably going to make more there. So I think it was twofold kind of that. Just like, hey, we see you as a quality depth piece, not a true starter next year. And B, you're probably going to get paid more if you do end up going elsewhere. So bummed to see it. I did expect him to be back. And, I'd love to hear from both sides kind of how it went down. But to me, I kind of see that as how it played out, of just like I've talked to other guys of maybe USC kind of like cutting in a way, like, hey, we just think we see you having a better opportunity elsewhere. We're going to go in a different direction. To me, I think they wanted him back, but it wasn't going to be at the same level that he was this year. It was being more rotation. And with 1 year left, if you're him, it makes sense. Like you need as many reps as you can to kind of put on tape to go get to that NFL level and get drafted as high as possible. So I think that is kind of how it went down, in my opinion. So wish him nothing but the best. Again, love his story. Just please, not that you listen to this podcast, Evan, but just don't go to like one of these Big Ten rival schools. Go to the Big 12. You'll do great in the Big 12. You'll dominate in the Big 12. And hey, if you go to Texas Tech or whatever and you end up going to win a natty, it's great. Just don't go to one of these Big Ten schools. Hey, what's going on, LAFB family? Before we get to the show, got to tell you about my friends over at Sleeper. The number one sports app right now, and not just for season-long fantasy. They have daily game updates. They have a live chat that you can chat with other users. Plus, my favorite part is the daily fantasy feature, which is similar to a pick'em. You just choose 2 or more players across any sport. Choose more or less in whatever sport that may be. So if it's football, more or less touchdowns. For Jaden Maiava, if it's Mekhi Lemon, more or less receptions. If you're looking at the Dodgers, more or less home runs for Shohei Ohtani. Really easy, and you can win real money. Right now, when you go and make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code. You see it right there on the screen, USCLAFB. That's going to give you a matched deposit bonus up to $100. You put in $100 to play with, you're going to get $100 free on top of that. You can put in 10, you get 10 free. Also, right now, our friends are offering a $20 free entry for any new signups. If you go sign up today, you'll get both those offers. You get $20 right off the bat free to play with. Plus, use that promo code USCLAFB at sign up and you'll get that match bonus as well. Go to the App Store, Google Play, download the Sleeper app today, and tell them that the USC LAFB sent you. Now, let's get on to the show. All right, Walker Lions. I don't want to say stunning. Well, okay, no, I'll say pretty stunning. Pretty stunning. But the more I think about it, the more and the more I've kind of talked around, the more I'm kind of like understanding. This, I saw him, he had a, solid year, kind of being that tight end 2 behind Lake McCree, 20 catches, 2 touchdowns, had some really good games, kind of grew in the blocking game. And we know this offense is utilizing 12 personnel a lot more, even utilizing the 13 personnel a little bit. So definitely saw him as like the tight end one next year with incoming freshman Mark Bowman. I saw it's like, okay, those are going to be a match there that I think is going to be amazing. I said it multiple times, like, man, that duo is going to feed families, watching those 2 and 12 personnel play together with the talent, kind of the size, the speed, all of that. So, surprising that he is leaving. Now, I don't even want to say there's speculation. This is just more kind of as I kind of put the dots together. There was a lot of talk of his brother, Ryder Lyons, coming to USC, and the big connection obviously was that Walker was here. Well, I talked all offseason, so I'm not going to get into it, but obviously Ryder Lyons ultimately ended up committing to BYU. He'll have to go on his mission, but he'll be there in, a year and a half, whatever the timeline is. I would be pretty surprised if Walker doesn't end up at BYU. Be pretty surprised if he doesn't ultimately end up transferring to BYU to play with his brother. I think I kind of downplayed it a little bit, but I think that was probably a dream. It's a dream of probably a lot of brothers to be able to play together. I mean, we've seen the Branch brothers, right? They ended up following each other. Zion commits here, Zachariah commits here, and then they both end up hitting the portal and both going to Georgia. So it's probably too understated that they did want to ultimately be able to play some college ball together. So he might not end up there. I'm just speaking on opinion here. But when you see kind of who's coming in, you kind of see the direction maybe of what the tight end room is looking like. And maybe it was just more of a, hey, I really want to play with my brother at some point. And, nothing's guaranteed. Who even know if Ryder will win the job in the next 2 years when he'll still have eligibility left. But BYU, obviously a great team, just missed out on the playoff also. So it's not like he's going to some bad power or group of 6 team or something. So I would be surprised if he doesn't end up at BYU, but he might not. He's a great tight end. He's definitely going to have some big NIL money. That's another thing that probably came into this a little bit. I mean, USC's paying Mark Bowman a lot of money. I don't know the exact contract, but I know the figures got tossed around in like the $4 to $8 million range over like 3 years kind of thing. They're paying him a lot of money, meaning they expect him to kind of start day one. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. I think Lincoln Riley has been pretty good about, hey, we're going to play the best guy, not just who's making the most in NIL. But they definitely see him as being a very impact player right off the bat. So I don't know if Walker Lyons saw that. I don't know. I don't think he's shying away from competition. I don't believe in that with that guy. I've talked to him plenty of times, and he's a super competitive guy. And he talked about, one of the times we talked to him after practice about kind of taking over the leadership role of the tight end room, because obviously Lake McCree was going to be out of eligibility after this year. And so I think it was like week 7 or 8. It was like in the middle of the season, and him kind of alluding to, I've taken a lot from Lake about, how to become a leader of this room and lead these guys once he's gone. So I fully believed it was going to be him and Mark Bowman kind of moving forward. So definitely a little surprised by that, but I'm thinking there's some truth there to the desire to play with his brother, and it might end up being at BYU. Now, the thought for me was like, hey, maybe Ryder ends up at USC ultimately after he comes back, and we'll see how the quarterback position plays out. So who knows? I mean, with the transfer portal, these things are so fluid. I mean, he's entering. He could end up just re-signing here ultimately, and he might not go anywhere if USC really wants. So when you look at the tight end room that's left.
All right, people, serious question time. Did you know that driving high is considered driving under the influence? That's right. Driving under the influence of marijuana is against the law in every state. That means even in states where marijuana is legal. That means driving high could get you a DUI. And if you think law enforcement officers can't tell when you're driving high, well, you're wrong. If you're high, they can tell. Your friends can tell. Your coworkers can tell. Even your parents can tell. Everyone can tell. So what makes you think that law enforcement officers don't know when you're driving high? You'd be wrong. They can tell too. Driving under the influence of marijuana can slow your response time and change how you perceive time and speed. So even if you think you're fine to drive when you're high, you're not. Because the bottom line is, if you feel different, you drive different, and driving high is driving under the influence. So remember, drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
Obviously, you're now losing your 2 starters, both starters, Lake McCree going to the draft and Walker Lyons entering the portal. So there's going to be a lot of inexperience. You've got Joey Olsen and Walter Matthews still on the roster. Really surprised we did not see them at all. I mean, I think there's still some excitement there. Walter Matthews is just unbelievable size, and I know he kind of did some different things this year. So I'm really curious to see where he is at in terms of development, where they view him at in terms of usage within this offense. I mean, because his size is just remarkable, and I think he can eat in this offense if he can get kind of, especially in the blocking game, get better at blocking and get done with that. I think he can really be an asset in this offense for sure. Joey Olsen, my guy Gabe over at Trojan Blade, I know he's been preaching for the Joey Olsen as elite narrative to come true. He's been wanting it to happen. Now's his best chance, Gabe. Now is his opportunity for us to really see Joey Olsen finally. And he's dealt with some injuries, so hopefully he can be fully healthy going into the new year and obviously kind of seize that opportunity that is going to be open. I mean, it's wide open. Mark Bowman obviously is kind of the leader just because of the hype around him as the 5-star, but right now it is wide open. And then lastly, Taniela Tupuo'i. I think I said that right. Always saying these names wrong, but Tupuo'i will be a redshirt freshman, recruited out of Folsom. So he played with Rider Lions, he might have overlapped with Walker Lions, played with Vlad Diakonov, who's going to be coming here next year as a true freshman. He played kind of two ways, edge. USC recruited him as a tight end. And I think there's a lot of excitement around this kid. We obviously didn't see this year as a redshirt freshman. But this is a guy I would love to talk to Chad Savage about. I think there's a lot of excitement around him. Great size, just like all their tight ends are. But 6'3", 245. He has that infamous little clip on the sideline of the UCLA game. I won't repeat what he said, but talking to the UCLA sideline. So I think there's a lot of excitement around him. So whenever there's guys leaving, just remember, there's always usually someone on the roster that we or the fan base doesn't really know about that the coaching staff is excited about. There's obviously going to be surprises, some surprises when guys leave. I think for the most part, I don't know about today, but for the most part, a lot of these departures were intentional and just based on numbers and depth. But for the most part, there's always a guy kind of waiting and a guy that's we don't want to see that guy go, but we got a guy here that we're pretty excited about. I think Tupuo'i is one of those guys. Taniela. So watch out for that. And then obviously Josiah Jefferson, number 1 JUCO prospect, and Mark Bowman. So there is still depth there. It's just there's just no experience. That's the only issue. There's zero experience. So we'll see if they go add one tight end in the portal just for that experience level. But the talent is there. They've got plenty of talent. So we'll see. In terms of defensive line, just because I skimmed over that real quickly, with Devin Tompkins now leaving, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see this bowl game. You've basically got on the roster, and none of these guys yet have announced re-signing, technically. But you've got Jamal Jarrett, Jakeem Stewart, Floyd Boucard, Jade Abasiri, and Cash Jacobson. Those are kind of your 5 scholarship defensive linemen going into this bowl game. And again, yet none of them have actually been announced as re-signing. Now, with the departure of Tompkins, I would definitely I fully expect Jarrett, Stewart, and Boucard to all be back. I fully hope and expect Jade Abasiri. I haven't heard anything otherwise as of Wednesday morning. I think he is a very quality starter who's continuing to get better and will be a true junior. Then Cash Jacobson, redshirt freshman, we'll see. I know there's some excitement. So you got those 5 guys, and then you've got the 4/5 coming in as freshmen with Jamian Winfield and Tom Tupuo'i. Those 2 guys will play as freshmen. Those will be they'll probably get similar amount of reps as Jakeem Stewart and Floyd Boucard got this year. You're talking 10 to 15 reps a game between those 2 rotating in. Those 2 guys will play. Not because, partially out of necessity, but partially because I think they're going to be just really good. And then you got Jake Johnson, Malik Brooks, and then Braden Jones is kind of that Devin Tompkins-like body, little hybrid edge interior guy. Probably better suited more as a 5-tech, more outside, just a little lighter and a little more speed. So based on those numbers now, with Tompkins leaving, they will for sure be adding a defensive lineman in the portal. I would think 100% be adding 1, maybe 2 impact defensive linemen. So we'll keep you posted on that. But there's those 2, kind of surprising this morning. Let me know your thoughts. Comment below. Are you shocked, surprised, bummed, sad, indifferent? This is the era we live in. This is the transfer portal era. It's hard to get attached, I know. especially because some of these are fan favorite guys that end up, just going to look for other opportunities. So we'll keep you posted on all that. And I'll be back, obviously, all day today on the pipeline with anything else that comes through. So please hit that like and subscribe button, become a member of the channel, and check out LAFBnetwork.com. Go to our forum, and I've got all this information listed here that you can keep up to date with on the fly as it happens before I jump on here and kind of dissect it. So appreciate you, family. As always, bye down.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening. Happy holidays! Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy Holiday.